Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party have decided that Atishi will be the new Chief Minister of Delhi. How do the voters and citizens of Delhi look at this decision by the Aam Aadmi Party? The results of this week's political stock exchange, fresh from the polling agency, coming out right here live tonight on the News Track.
Kejriwal quits. Atishi is now Delhi's CM. Should Kejriwal have resigned earlier? What impact will resignation have on polls? Has Kejriwal Kattar Imandar image taken a hit? What do the citizens of Delhi think? First and only tracker on Kejriwal's gambit. Political stock exchange.
Before I bring you the results of this week's political stock exchange, let me take you through our top story tonight. Arvind Kejriwal has quit as Delhi's chief minister. He's handed over the reins of the capital to his loyalist and trusted aide Atishi. Both the ex-CM and the new CM met the Delhi Lieutenant Governor today. The Aam Aadmi Party has put its weight behind Atishi, but the party has declared that Kejriwal will be back in the CM's chair soon. The BJP is calling the change of guard cosmetic, claiming that AAP will continue to be corrupt. Here's how the Delhi political drama unfolded through the day today.
मेरे गुरु अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का धन्यवाद करना चाहती हूँ, जिन्होंने मुझे इतनी बड़ी जिम्मेदारी दी और इस जिम्मेदारी के लिए मुझ पे भरोसा किया.
Delhi gets a new chief minister 5 months before polls. Ruling Aam Aadmi Party has picked Arvind Kejriwal's trusted aide Atishi as his successor, but only till next polls. Atishi had been steering governance when Kejriwal was in jail for 5 months. Soon after getting the mantle, Atishi swore allegiance to Kejriwal.
मैं आज ये जरूर कहना चाहती हूँ आम आदमी पार्टी के सभी विधायकों की तरफ से, दिल्ली की 2 करोड़ जनता की तरफ से, कि दिल्ली का एक ही मुख्यमंत्री है और उस मुख्यमंत्री का नाम अरविंद केजरीवाल है. ऐसे ईमानदार आदमी पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने भ्रष्टाचार के आरोप लगाए, झूठे केस किए, फर्जी केस किए.
While AAP netas hailed Atishi's elevation as chief minister,
सबने एक साथ मिलके आतिशी के नाम पे सहमति जताई.
rebel AAP MP Swati Maliwal attacked Atishi over her family's fight to stop hanging of parliament attack convict terrorist Afzal Guru.
दिल्ली के लिए एक बहुत दुखद दिन है. आज दिल्ली की मुख्यमंत्री एक ऐसी महिला आतिशी मारलेना जी बनने जा रही हैं, जिनके अपने परिवार ने आतंकवादी अफजल गुरु को फांसी की सजा से बचाने के लिए एक लंबी लड़ाई लड़ी. ये कितनी गलत बात है.
BJP questioned Atishi's elevation as Delhi chief minister and called her a puppet by Kejriwal, who will just be remote controlled.
फरवरी में चुनाव आने वाले हैं अगले साल, तो दिल्ली के लोग तो मन बना चुके हैं कि केजरीवाल जैसे लोग, आम आदमी जैसे लोगों को कभी भी राजनीति में कभी भी जगह नहीं देना चाहिए.
आज एक आंदोलन के बाहरी व्यक्ति को मुख्यमंत्री बनाया जा रहा है, वो भी किस व्यक्ति को जिसके परिवार ने अफजल गुरु जैसे आतंकवादी को माफी दिलवाने के लिए पेटिशन दायर की थी. ऐसी नक्सली मानसिकता को बैकडोर से दिल्ली के मुख्यमंत्री की कुर्सी पर बैठाने का पाप अरविंद केजरीवाल कर रहे हैं.
Atishi has strong support of Kejriwal and party top guns. Can she prove to be AAP's Brahmastra? With Amit Bharadwaj and Piyush Mishra in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Atishi is Delhi's new chief minister. Kejriwal says he wants to undergo an Agni Pariksha. The Aam Aadmi Party has taken this decision. What do the voters and citizens of Delhi think of this idea? Joining us now on this week's edition of the Political Stock Exchange, I want to welcome our guests. We have Amitabh Tiwari, well-known political analyst with us. Jasmine Shah is the chief spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. We've got Tuhin Sinha from the BJP. I have Ashutosh, who's a political analyst, has been in the AAP in the past. And I want to tell our viewers that this poll was done today. So I put the questions together yesterday. We put it into the C-Voter CATI telephonic tracker through the day today. It has a margin of error of plus and minus 5%. And remember, even though Delhi has a lot of social media and digital and television proliferation, you don't have adequate time for this information to seep in because this information was announced today. That's when this poll has been done. So keep that in mind as you look at these initial set of responses. Let's get started. Do you think Kejriwal should have resigned before going to jail? Like Hemant Soren, for example, when this question was asked to a sample of about 1,500 respondents, these were the answers. The last table, the last column is of the average, the weighted average of all the different types of voters. 49% of the overall respondents feel that Kejriwal should have resigned before going to jail. Naturally, amongst BJP respondents, almost 80% are saying isko pehle hi jana chahiye tha, but that's obvious because they're antagonistic towards Kejriwal. Amongst AAP voters, which is more significant, about 1/3 say he should have resigned before going to jail. Amongst Congress voters, interestingly, very few say he should have resigned earlier. 87% saying no, he should not have resigned. So that's question number one, where the net response is 49% saying if he had to resign, he should have resigned before going to jail. Should Arvind Kejriwal have recommended the dissolution of the assembly along with his resignation? He's called, remember, for early polls, but should he have asked for the assembly itself to be dissolved along with and held elections held along with Jharkhand and Maharashtra? Here, 40% of the total respondents say yes, he should have also dissolved the Delhi Assembly. 19% say no. Amongst the AAP voters, the response is more muted. 33% saying he should have dissolved the Assembly. Naturally, amongst BJP voters, they're itching for an early election. 50% saying he should have dissolved the Assembly now rather than delay this. I want to come to the next question. What impact do you think Kejriwal's resignation could have on the next assembly election in the capital? It enhances AAP's chances of winning, is the response of 31% of the respondents. It will have a somewhat negative impact, will be the response of 29% of the respondents. No noticeable impact is the response of 19% of the respondents. That being said, let me now go across first to Amitabh Tiwari to try and distill the first set of responses that I've put out. It seems to me that about half the respondents believe that he should have resigned before going to jail. If he really wanted to uphold public morality, rather than do this now, he should have resigned before going to jail. What do you make of these responses? Amitabh Tiwari.
Yeah, essentially almost half of the people believe that he should have resigned earlier, which gives credence to BJP's charge that this could be a political gimmick. What is worrying for the Aam Aadmi Party is that even 1/3 of their own voters believe that he should have resigned before going to the jail. On the second question, whether the dissolution of the assembly should have taken place, here also if you see, amongst AAP supporters, the people who believe that he should have dissolved the Delhi Assembly, which is again 1/3, is 10% higher than what the other voters are saying, which is no, he should not have dissolved the Assembly. So of these responses, what is worrying for the Aam Aadmi Party is that a higher number or a significant number of voters believe that he should have resigned or he should have dissolved the
Let me get Jasmine Shah to respond to the first response, where you've got 1/3 of AAP voters and 50% of the overall voters saying if Kejriwal wanted to resign, he should have resigned when he went to jail, not now.
Rahul, first of all, I take all these surveys with a pinch of salt, especially when they are not face-to-face survey and done over telephone. You know, representativeness, sample size, different cross-sections of social economic strata, all those questions come in. But having said that, See, there has been a general tendency for people, and I would say this is before the present BJP regime, which has turned the entire investigative agency and the work on its head. People believe that once you even press or accuse someone, and if CBI and ED register a case against someone, there is something. But now slowly people have started believing, and they are seeing this as an example in this so-called the fake Delhi liquor case, that for the last 2 years BJP has been yelling from the rooftops that, oh, a huge scam has taken place, but in 2 years they have not been able to find any evidence or any money recovery. And now the Supreme Court, this has not happened for the past 10 years. After 10 years, Supreme Court has been compelled to call the investigative agencies of this country as a caged parrot. Remember, this was Mr. Modi, Prime Minister Modi and Chief Minister Modi earlier used to call CBI and target UPA for being a caged parrot. Today, these comments are being made of the Supreme Court. So, yes, part of our public outreach narrative, and this is exactly what Mr. Kejriwal plans to do, that he wants to take this fight to the people. He's going to tell the people why did he not resign earlier. Because if he had resigned earlier, Rahul, you know that today there are cases against Mamta Didi, Pinarayi Vijayan, Hemant Soren obviously. All the chief ministers would be put in jail. Why? Because there's a fake ED case, fake CBI case.
Deshmukh come in on this.
नहीं सकते, उनको जेल में डालो और वो सरकारी गिरा दो.
Jasmine's argument is basically, and it's reflected in the data, that people at this moment, because it happened just today, which is when you ran the sample, are a bit confused. It's a very mixed picture on most questions, which basically means they haven't made a firm position. They're going along with their political biases. It's not clear. Jasmine's argument is, we will build on this, which is why Kejriwal is resigned, because narrative mahal banane se banta hai. Now we've got an opportunity to go out and try and build the narrative the way Kejriwal thinks is best for AAP.
Well, Rahul, I actually look this data as more giving me indication of a pro-AAP sentiment and pro-Kejriwal sentiment rather than a negative sentiment. Because you just mentioned that the Congress supporters are giving a much bigger sweeping remark that he did the right thing to be there because they are big-time anti-BJP voters. But as far as Aam Aadmi Party vote share in Delhi is concerned, we know that a significant chunk of that base also votes for BJP in the Lok Sabha election. So that 1/3 of the AAP support base, which is saying that he should have resigned, I am not surprised by that because, first of all, it is an anti-Congress, anti-BJP chunk which is with them, and it is probably that kind of moralistic chunk which got attracted to Aam Aadmi Party because of the Andolan, Anna Andolan, and so on and so forth. But having said that, Rahul, what tells me from the question that what the impact is going to have, the second option is looking like somewhat negative, but the full line is that somewhat negative, but Aam Aadmi Party will remain the major force. So if you look at it that way, I see only 31% in the sample actually, which is like big time anti-AAP or anti-Kejriwal in that way. What it does is that it makes this entire thing finally balanced. It is pretty much like the BJP, like without Narendra Modi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP has no gain anywhere. Similarly, without Arvind Kejriwal, Aam Aadmi Party has no gain in Delhi. So it's the question of the leadership, and it's gonna be around Arvind Kejriwal. And let me point out this thing. Then the last 10 years, Rahul, we do twice every year the MOTN. So it's about between 2014 and 24. Right now, we are looking at almost like 20 rounds of MOTN, and I don't remember a single time when Arvind Kejriwal was out of the top 5 chief ministers in India. So just like at the national level, Prime Minister Modi is extremely popular as the chief ministerial candidate.
So Ashutosh, do you think this creates some distance between Kejriwal and anti-incumbency? Naturally, after 10 years of being in power, a certain amount of anti-incumbency builds up against all leaders and parties. By leaving the chief minister's chair, has Kejriwal been able to create some distance between governance, anti-incumbency and his own political persona?
See, Rahul, the most important thing is that Delhi election will be all about Narendra Modi, all about Arvind Kejriwal. It's like parliament election. Where in the parliament election, Mr. Modi was the issue, and in Assembly Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal will be an issue. So I think Arvind Kejriwal must have done some kind of survey, must have got some feedback from the ground that if he's continuing as a chief minister, then it will harm the party. And I'm saying this with confidence, not that I'm some here and there. Because only then he had decided to resign and throw an emotional card, trying to connect with the people that, look, I'm not here to run after the office. I am here to resign. Because he committed the blunder when he was being arrested. If at that point of time he had resigned, then probably people would have thought that here is our leader who is not running after the office. Look at this. 10 years is a pretty long time in politics, in government, to create a kind of anti-incumbency. Narendra Modi had that kind of anti-incumbency. He faced that, so Arvind Kejriwal will certainly face that. But problem with Arvind Kejriwal is that now there are serious corruption charges. And I'm not saying that it's liquor policy which is going to damage them. The more he has been damaged by the Sheesh Mahal, because it has a visual impact. And visually, people are not willing to believe that the man who used to say that he should stay in a 2-room flat, suddenly has spent 45 crores. It's the visual impact which is must have damaged him. And that is why he has decided to relinquish the post and let Atishi become the chief minister. But again, the party has done a damage by calling her a kind of a dummy candidate, a dummy chief minister. If Atishi would have been allowed to create some kind of brand value for herself and a kind of autonomy, then probably Atishi as a clean face would have added certain value to the Aam Aadmi Party.
Let Jasmine Shah respond to what Ashutosh is saying, that you've already rendered her a lame duck chief minister by making it clear that she's just holding the chair like Bharat for Ram till Kejriwal comes again. You've essentially said, CM to Kejriwal hi honge, kursi pe jo marzi baitha. The moment your leaders say that, you made your own new appointee rather ineffective and a lame duck CM.
Well, that can be Ashutosh's opinion, but if you ask and if you go in the streets of Delhi, Rahul, every single person has chosen Arvind Kejriwal to be his chief minister. As just Yashwant Deshmukh ji just said, that he has consistently, for the past 10 years, he has been amongst the most popular chief ministers in the country. Mandate-wise, he has 90% assembly seats in Delhi. No chief minister in the history of India has won such a mandate. So why shouldn't when people voted in 2020, they didn't vote for XYZ, they voted for Arvind Kejriwal ji. And he has resigned because he took it upon himself as a moral, fight that I will go to the people and seek my mandate against. Nobody had asked him to do it. So obviously everybody knows that the rightful person in this place should be Arvind Kejriwal. He has run a clean administration. He has done the kind of things that no government in this country has ever done. He has given free services to the poor. He has turned around government schools, health, hospitals, clinics, etc. Why should we not be grateful that today you have a chief minister like him who is delivering and who is as honest as anybody else in the country? So, let's not make a big issue out of this that, oh, Kejriwal ji chale gaye, lekin unke piche koi aa raha hai. Atishi ji, and let me just be very clear, for the last 2 years, ever since Atishi has been a minister in Delhi government, she has a tremendous track record. She has worked on education. She has single-handedly managed many important departments. She is a lady in her own, might. But let's not trivialize and say that she will not be able to take any decisions.
No, but your own leader said it. That
leader
jo bhi ho CM, asli CM to Kejriwal hi honge, was said by Saurabh Bhardwaj of the Aam Aadmi Party this morning. So that's a legitimate argument that Ashutosh was making, because that's the positioning and the messaging from the AAP itself. Tuhin Sinha, when we asked the question, what impact do you think Kejriwal's resignation will have on the opposition, in particular the BJP? Here are the responses. 32% say it will strengthen the BJP, 30% say it will weaken the BJP's momentum, 20% say there will be no impact, 5% think it will create confusion. In a sense, if I compare 32 versus 30, there isn't much there. I mean, voters quite confused. Overall voters, amongst BJP voters, obviously they think it will strengthen the BJP. But if you look at the overall percentage of voters, there seems to be a high degree of confusion about whether Kejriwal's resignation will benefit the opposition or weaken the opposition.
Well, good evening, Rahul. Good evening, everybody. You know, an incapacitated or a defunct chief minister quitting does not make any difference. You know, the right time for Kejriwal to quit was in March when he was first arrested. And now when he has quit, obviously because the Supreme Court has not left him with much option, he's trying to make virtue out of necessity. But, you know, now when he has quit, when he's out of jail, it is very clear, and as the Aam Aadmi Party makes no effort to hide it, that Atishi will be a well-educated Rabri Devi. But again, who has Arvind Kejriwal chosen? The most corrupt person. What has Atishi done in the last 6 months? She has presided over allegedly an 80 crore racket involving the PWD ministry, where desilting of drains did not happen. So what you saw, the catastrophe that you saw in July, was a completely man-made catastrophe. In fact, Tanish Tiwari, a UPSC aspirant, 3 days before the incident took place, where 3 UPSC aspirants died in flooding, she had specifically written to the PWD ministry, and there was no response. So I think, you know, not only is Atishi corrupt like all Aam Aadmi Party leaders, she is also grossly incompetent. And, you know, I think more importantly, I think she has to make her stand clear on her parents' mercy petition involving Afzal Guru.
So let Jasmine Shah respond to the BJP's charge branding Atishi some kind of a Marxist Leninist, saying that's how she got the name Marlena, that her parents signed off on a petition for mercy for Afzal Guru. Ye to communist hai. She's extreme left, and they're basically trying to tarnish the image of Delhi's new chief minister.
Rahul, it is no surprise that BJP hates to see women in power. Absolutely, जो महिला विरोधी इनकी सोच है. Today also, it's not just the whole through the day there has been character assassination going on of Atishi. Why? Because in 22 states, BJP has governments. Not in a single state they have a woman chief minister. When our Olympic medalists and women were alleging sexual harassment, who does BJP stand with? They'll stand with the perpetrator. So this is, you know, this is now almost expected, and I'm glad that Tuhin today made the stand very clear that we were anti-women and we continue to be anti-women. And now when you talk about corruption charges, now they're saying Atishi is also corrupt. The point here is, Rahul, that for the last 10 years, every single day they have been alleging AAP is corrupt, AAP is corrupt. You have all the powers, Tuhin ji. You have ED, CBI, IT. In the last 10 years, what were you guys doing? You should have investigated, Rahul, finished it, convicted some of our leaders.
Okay, let Tuhin Sinha respond before I take the next question.
This shows that people today laugh at you.
Just 20
when
seconds.
You make corruption allegations, people laugh at you. That this is nothing but your desperation.
Can I get a 20-second rebuttal?
Go for it,
Rahul, did you hear me use the word Naxal? Did you hear me use the word Naxal or leftist? But if the parents of an incumbent chief minister have written
you use that against Arvind Kejriwal ji in 20.
Jasmine Shah, let Tuhin Sinha speak. Jasmine's fader goes down. Let Tuhin speak.
If the parents of an incumbent chief minister have written a mercy petition in favor of Afzal Guru without taking the oath of office, shouldn't she specify her position on this important issue concerning national security? I have never used the word Marxist. I have never used the word urban Naxal for her, but it's an important issue. It's a grave issue concerning national security, and I think before she takes oath of office, she should specify.
You may not have called her an urban Naxal, but I heard an interview with the BJP state president. He certainly did. But let me put this question to Ashutosh. Ashutosh, you worked with Atishi. It is a fact her parents have an ideological bent which is highly leftist and communist. They did also, it's a fact, sign a petition, mercy petition for Afzal Guru. Do you think that impacts how the voters of Delhi perceive their new chief minister or not really? You're on mute, Ashutosh.
Rahul, let me speak for at least for a minute. I think Atishi is an excellent choice as the chief minister. The kind of educational qualification she had, I think very few in the BJP can match. She has a very extremely clean image. She is extremely good administrator, and she has proved as a minister in holding the different charges. About the charges, corruption charges, I think if there had been any corruption charges, by now the BJP would have put her in jail. The point number two, I think it's very sad to see this, that the old parents of Atishi has been maligned like anything. They are creating a hatred against their parents. And I'm really worried about the security of the parents, that if you're creating something like this, this should have been avoided. The politics with Atishi should have been fought with Atishi itself, not with her parents. And this is despicable, and I have said it in as many words. The point number two, in 2015, when I was in Aam Aadmi Party, our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, at the peak of his popularity, had said, Arvind Kejriwal is a Naxal, his place is in jungles. What happened? People had given mandate for the Naxal, who should be in jungle, got 67 seats out of 70. BJP is committing a mistake again. The more you will target Atishi, the more Atishi will benefit, the more Aam Aadmi Party will benefit. This Naxal discourse has not worked in Delhi, will not work. The ideally is the 10 years anti-incumbency, which will work against the Aam Aadmi Party. If the BJP targets and the working in the delivery of the government, that would be much better strategy than calling somebody Naxal, anti-national. I think that's enough of enough. Yeah? Don't spare the parents or old parents. Don't do this. This is really sad.
Okay. You know, as Kejriwal's image is a kattar imandar, a highly honest person taken a hit because of his jail term. 37% of the overall respondents in Yashwant Deshmukh's poll say yes, it's been a blot on his reputation. 37% say no, it's not had an impact, he's yet to be proven guilty. Party image has taken a beating as other AAP leaders have been named in the corruption case, say 18% of the respondents. So again, the question, as I said earlier, the responses seem to be quite divided. The big challenge, Yashwant Deshmukh, for the BJP is who do they pull out? You know, they've tried different options from Kiran Bedi to Dr. Harshvardhan, Vijay Goyal. They've tried different options. None of them have been able to really stand up and answer Arvind Kejriwal. Do you see anyone in the BJP who can do it? I know the name of Smriti Irani, for example, has been mentioned in passing by some in the BJP. Who can potentially within the BJP take on Kejriwal's personality? Because without that, they'll struggle to answer the question like the opposition struggles to take on Modi in a national election.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree with you, because the problem is that since 1998 till to 2024, I mean, it's like if you look into the entire 30 years of Delhi politics, only once in all these years did the BJP manage to come up as a single largest party, probably short by 3 seats to the majority. That was in 2013. And the person who took BJP to that far was Dr. Harshvardhan, out and out organization party man, and I don't think anybody else is there right now with the BJP, but Harshvardhan has been parked. You know, he has been kind of one step short of sending him to Ramadashak Mandal, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, I mean, and there is no other name as such. So I don't know. Maybe it is the politics of default, with the opposition is hoping all the time at the national level that the BJP is hoping for the same in national capital at this point of time. And I don't know whether that be successful or not, because yeah, I understand 10 years of incumbency is a lot.
How important Amitabh Tiwari is for the BJP to be able to throw up a name, a face who can take on Kejriwal's personality? Should they just go fight on the basis of 10 years of anti-incumbency, these charges of corruption, or do you think the BJP desperately needs a heavyweight face to take on Kejriwal's personality?
See, I think the 2024 Lok Sabha election results have shown that even the national elections have become less presidential. So BJP had a leader, but there was significant anti-incumbency against the MPs, and the opposition was able to make the election local. So here as well, as Sir has said, BJP is struggling for a leader. It does not have a leader to match Arvind Kejriwal's charisma. Arvind Kejriwal realizes that not only there is anti-incumbency against himself, but against the MLAs, because they have been, most of them have been two-term MLAs with 10 years in power. So to neutralize this, I think BJP will have to make the election local. Arvind Kejriwal wants to make this election presidential upon himself. That is why perhaps he has resigned and wants to take the media attention and the limelight, while BJP will have to go for a very seat-by-seat localized kind of election to exploit the anti-incumbency.
Ashutosh, you understand the ins and outs of Delhi politics. You fought an election here. Can the BJP, as Amitabh Tiwari suggests, fight on the basis of 10 years of anti-incumbency, and that's a big enough plank added with corruption to take on the BJP? Or do they need like an X factor, like Sushma Swaraj or maybe a Smriti Irani to come in and be their face?
See, all said and done, I think BJP needs a very strong face, and I think Smriti Irani fits that bill. Why I'm saying so? Because if you carefully look at the Delhi voters' response, in 2013, BJP got 32% vote share. In 2014, they got 56% vote share. In 2015, they got 33% vote share. In 2019, they got again 54% vote share. Then in 2020, assembly election, they got 37% vote share. Recent MCD election, BJP got 39%. That shows that the BJP has got certain substantial loyalty of voters, which is something around 36-37% vote share. Aam Aadmi Party vote share has been fluctuating from 54% to 18% in 2019 parliamentary elections. Again, it came to 40% in the MCD election. So the loyalty with the Aam Aadmi Party voters is very fragile and very fickle. Where the BJP is placed with 36-37% solid voters loyalty. If they can add a good face in Delhi, then probably that good face can not only can challenge the BJP, but can get extra 4-5% vote share. If that happens, then Aam Aadmi Party is certainly in trouble this time, and they will be in trouble. I have no doubt on that score.
Will you concede to Tuhin Sinha on camera as well that no matter what you say, most people watching at this time will believe that the BJP doesn't have a face, somebody who can take on Kejriwal's personality, like the opposition doesn't have a face, or in the Lok Sabha didn't have a answer to Narendra Modi, a leader at the same level of stature. You don't have someone who can take on Kejriwal.
Well, Rahul, I have a simple question for you. 1 year ago, around this time, would you have known that Mohan Yadav would be the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, that Bhajan Lal Sharma would be the Chief Minister of Rajasthan, and Mohan Charan Majhi would be the Chief Minister of Orissa? You know, BJP is a blessed organization. We produce leaders very effortlessly. Over here, the issues are more important. The level of corruption...
Can I pause you to say, you don't produce leaders effortlessly, you appointed a leader effortlessly because you had Modi and Shah to make that happen.
Well.
Can they win on their own? Take Messrs. Modi and Shah out of the equation. Can any of the worthies that you just named win an assembly election on their own steam like Kejriwal can?
The issues over here are far graver, far more important. The levels of corruption which an Aam Aadmi Party, which had come, supposedly to purge politics, has indulged in, is simply unacceptable, and people are not going to forgive them. I am telling you for a fact that there used to be a Zamanat Japt party outside Delhi. In a large number of constituencies within Delhi this time, the anger is so huge that they're going to be a Zamanat Japt party within Delhi in a large number of constituencies. And in such a situation, the sentiment is far more important than the leader.
Okay. Now, who's the most suitable to succeed Kejriwal? This question was part of the deck that I sent Yashwant. That question has now been answered, but it gives you a sense of who voters wanted. Okay. So let me take you through the responses. 22% of the respondents wanted Atishi. Atishi is the one who's come in. Saurabh Bhardwaj was the choice of 8% of the respondents. Raghav Chadha 6%. Sunita Kejriwal 17%. Gopal Rai 5%. Sanjay Singh 7%. So I'm sure you would have done your own analysis, Jasmine, but the poll suggests that if not Kejriwal, our sample suggests that Atishi was in fact the first choice.
Well, that's good. I think that your poll has matched the judgment of the entire Aam Aadmi Party leadership, because this was a call where the political affairs committee chipped in, the existing cabinet chipped in, all the individual MLAs were asked, and finally, obviously, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal has taken a very important decision, because, mind you, the remaining term of the AAP government may be a few months, but BJP and LG are trying to stop each and every work of the AAP government, be it drain cleaning. As simple a matter as drain cleaning, the officers have today refused to respond to the minister's, request for data or information on what is the status on the ground. The schemes like free electricity and water, there is a threat that they may be stopped any time. So you do need a capable minister, as everybody has noted that Atishi ji has been part of the cabinet. She has the largest portfolio, and the kind of background that she comes from, a Rhodes Scholar, St. Stephen's graduate, studied at Oxford, Cambridge. She is a highly capable woman, and we are very confident that for the remaining few months, not only will we keep the work of Mr. Kejriwal intact, but many other things that are in the pipeline will also be executed. And at the same time, our collective effort will be to go to the people of Delhi, explain to them why Mr. Kejriwal had to take this decision, because they had voted for Mr. Kejriwal, and seek their blessing again.
Okay.
And this is what
Ashutosh,
the beauty of democracy
you know
is.
the ins
It
and
doesn't
outs of
matter
the
lies
art.
that
What
Cohen
kind
wants
of
to
a
say
chief
here.
minister is
It matters
Atishi likely to be? How much in sync is she with her supreme leader Arvind Kejriwal? And what are her strengths and weaknesses?
No, I think if Arvind Kejriwal has appointed her as a chief minister, that means Arvind Kejriwal has 100% confidence in her. And other than the loyalty factor, I think she's a very capable woman. And she has handled the port. See, after Arvind Kejriwal, it was Manish Sisodia who was considered to be extremely good administrator. I think Atishi has taken his place. And today, if you look at the way she has conducted as a minister, she knows how the work should be done. So I think it's a very good choice. It's excellent choice. There's no doubt about it. My only worry is that if Atishi would have been given more autonomy in kinds of dealing with the post and dealing with the people, she would have certainly added more value to the post and should have attracted more of an urban middle class anglicized voters to the Aam Aadmi Party, because she has that charisma in that sense. What should be more worrying for the BJP, for the Aam Aadmi Party this time, which be because the Congress is going to play some spoiling game in Delhi because there is a serious doubt in the minds of the minorities in Delhi about the Aam Aadmi Party because of the northeastern riots and northeast riot, and then Congress is on the rise across the country. So in Delhi, if they get another 7-8% votes, like last time they got only 4%. So if they goes to 15%, that vote will be taken away from the Aam Aadmi Party. That's what I'm saying. Aam Aadmi Party is in trouble this time. If BJP can throw a strong leader like Smriti Irani or somebody like her, then Aam Aadmi Party will certainly struggle.
On a different note to end, it was in 2002 that I'd gone on a Shivning fellowship to the United Kingdom and studied over there. Atishi happens to be a Shivning fellow, and I think it'll be arguably the first time a Shivning fellow has become chief minister of any state. So it's good that somebody who's a Rhodes Scholar, Shivning fellow, is now chief minister of Delhi. Whether she can do something, the fact is several times it is said that just because you're educated doesn't really make much of a difference. Whether she can bring her higher educational qualifications to bear and make a difference is something we will see in time to come. Yashwant, I'm out of time. Are you a Shivning fellow as well?
Very quickly, Rahul, yes. One should look at her on her own merit, not what her parents were. I mean, this is high time we should take these things out of
most certainly.
the window. I mean, that way.
No, and also, hard work versus Harvard, farak padta hai ki nahi, Rhodes Scholar, Shivning fellow, does it make a difference or not? We're just about to find out. That, I think, might be of some interest to viewers of India Today. I'm not sure it's of much interest to the larger Aam Aadmi voters of the capital, but it'll be interesting to see how somebody who is as educated and qualified as her delivers in the real thrust and cut of actually being a chief minister on the hot chair. Well, we wish you all the best, and I want to thank our guests for joining us and Yashwant and his team for turning this poll around in such quick time. So thank you. Appreciate the effort by the folks at C Voter. To talk about all that's happened in the first 100 days of Modi 3.0, we are joined live and exclusive on India Today at this time by one of the senior-most ministers in the Narendra Modi government, Minister for Commerce and Industry, the BJP Lok Sabha MP from North Mumbai, Piyush Goyal. Piyush ji, welcome, and it's great to have you with us, and congratulations as your government celebrates its first 100 days in office for the third time. I want to start by asking you, Piyush ji, ironically, what seems to have been the story of the past 100 days in the public eye. Here you have a government wanting to mark its first 100 days. You had a big 100-day agenda. You're wanting to take to the voters what you've been able to do in these 100 days. And at the same time, the opposition wanting to set the agenda. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal announcing he'll resign, go back to being an Aam Aadmi. So unlike the last 10 years where it was one-way traffic with the government setting the agenda, the 100-day anniversary captures this unique phenomena where the government is trying to set the agenda and is being pushed back by a far more aggressive opposition than in the past.
Where is the pushback? It's a matter of shame that an entire party and its chief minister are almost proven to be culpable and have been in jail for the investigations. Charge sheets are expected to be filed, and any effort to resign and try to change the agenda is not going to work. The people of Delhi have seen this corrupt government. This chief minister stands totally exposed, and it's a vindication of the investigative agency's findings that he has been forced to resign. And I don't think the people of Delhi are going to be amused or influenced by this charade. They have seen through the corruption of the Aam Aadmi Party, and they'll make sure that this resignation is permanent.
Piyush ji, the big difference between the past 10 years and the past 100 days is that the BJP now needs the support of allies like the Janata Dal United and the TDP, which wasn't the case earlier. As one of the senior most ministers in this government, can you explain how that has internally changed the nature of governance? I know the government is seeking to convey continuity, but from within, from your lens, how is it having to take allies on board different from being able to do your own thing without being dependent on what allies think of your decisions?
Rahul, you are missing the Honorable Prime Minister's continuous effort over 10 years to work along with his friends. So right from 2014, 19 and now 24, in each of the three governments, we had representatives of our allies. Even in 14 and 19, when we on our own had an absolute majority, the BJP, we respected our alliance, the National Democratic Alliance. And we did not tell the allies that now you're not required, so we'll form our own government. And that is the credibility of a tall leader, a visionary, and a leader who's clearly today the world's most popular leader. On his birthday today, as we celebrate Seva Divas, as we celebrate Vishwakarma Jayanti, as we celebrate Anant Chaturdashi, as we all pledge ourselves to Swachhata, I think it's a great matter of pride for the nation that after 60 years, we have a popular leader, a prime minister who's been sworn in the third time, along with our friendly parties in the National Democratic Alliance, and all of us with shared thinking, with a common agenda, supporting the development of the country to become a developed nation by 2047. This shared vision powers this government to make breakthroughs and achieve a big agenda in the very first 100 days itself.
Piyush ji, in the briefing the government did over the weekend and even in the press conference by the Home Minister this morning, the government explained what they've been able to achieve in the last 100 days. The opposition, though, says these have been 100 days that have been marked by U-turns, which wasn't the case in the past 10 years. From the decision to hire bureaucrats through the lateral entry, the decision to take back the broadcast bill, sending the Waqf board to a joint parliamentary committee, changing the long-term capital gains tax and indexation which was announced in the budget, and coming up with a modified national pension scheme. They're saying there are multiple policy reversals which show that this government isn't as strong as the first two avatars of the Modi government. How do you respond to this critique of the opposition?
Rahul, I think you have been observing our government's efforts and work and Mr. Prime Minister's own thinking for the last many, many years, whether it was in Gujarat, whether it's in Delhi at the central government. You know, he's the longest serving popular leader elected by the people when you combine his work as a chief minister and the prime minister. But one thing which he has consistently followed and which is a distinct trait of a good leader is that he's a listening leader. He's a leader who's responsive to the need of the times and the needs of the people. He has never shied away from being willing to change track, but always has remained on the course to do what is best for the country. So I don't think there's been any U-turn. If at all we allowed both options, the indexation in long-term capital gains and the new simplified version of capital gains, it's only a reflection of a listening government who felt that nobody should be disadvantaged because of our actions. The 45 people who were sought to be recruited through lateral entry, the policy needed a little tweaking. In fact, when we introduced lateral entry, it was declared by the Home Ministry that it will respect all the necessary government procurement principles. And therefore, we found that this needs to be corrected and probably brought in another form. So I don't see any rollback. These are small issues where we have demonstrated to the people of India that this government and this leader cares for his people, listens to them, and is always willing to have changes along the way.
Piyushji, can you explain what you think are the big ideas of Modi 3.0? You know, we saw last time Article 370 being brought in. What are the big ideas that you think you've been able to implement in the last 100 days, which you have in your agenda plan for the next 4+ years? The big ideas that you think will define Modi 3.0?
I think the fact that we finally have political stability in the country and that Prime Minister Narendra Modi will get a chance to implement his vision for many more years to come has helped generate confidence in the world in the India story. They can now see India working hard at thrice the speed, 3 times more effort to get 3 times more outcomes and take India to become a developed nation by 2047. And the fact that the milestones along the way are well defined, are planned, every single element of a person's life, whether it's ease of living, whether it's ensuring a home for everybody. We've already given 4 crore poor a free home, another 3 crore homes expected in the next 5 years. The fact that today nobody in the country sleeps hungry and India is fast becoming a 100% self-reliant economy on food grains and foodstuffs. The fact that we are one of the world leaders on sustainability and moving towards net zero, moving towards clean air and pollution-free environment very rapidly. The fact that the country cares for the youth, supports startups, supports skill development, and wants to make every young man and woman stand on his own legs, either as an entrepreneur, getting a good job in government, in industry, in the services sector, which is growing very fast, get a stable currency, and we see the Indian rupee not only stable but in a way showing strength when the whole emerging markets are in distress. We see an economy where international trade is fast growing. More and more people are getting jobs in infrastructure creation, programs to encourage electric vehicle mobility, to encourage adoption of electric vehicles, to encourage solar power, taking our renewable energy from 200 gigawatt to 500 gigawatt by 2030. You see a plethora of actions, hundreds and hundreds of decisions taken in less than 100 days. Every cabinet meeting making game-changing rapid strides towards our dream to make India a developed nation, with an intermediate milestone that in this term, India will become the world's 3rd largest economy, crossing $5 trillion and rapidly growing thereafter towards a $30 trillion plus economy.
Piyushji, you come from the state of Maharashtra, which is due for elections in a few weeks from now. There are elections in Haryana, there are elections in Jharkhand. Do you accept that these 3 states and the verdict that voters throw up in the state assembly elections becomes key to determining the political future of the government? If you're able to win many of these states, it will be sab changa si, Modi ji is back to normal and the BJP is back to being ascendant. If, however, there are poll reversals, could that undermine the pace of reforms going forward?
Rahul, my friend, we are going to win in all the 3 states of Maharashtra, Jharkhand and Haryana. And in Jammu Kashmir, the government will have the BJP as a member of the government, and you will see a massive improvement in the future of these 4 states. We are very confident of winning, and the people of India want to see political stability, want to see growth. The people in these 4 states have benefited immensely from the work of the central government. In Haryana, in Maharashtra and Jammu Kashmir, the work of our NDA governments, and the people of Jharkhand, having gone through so much corruption in their state and absolutely no development, now are yearning for change. So we have bright days ahead for the country, for these 4 states.
One of the big decisions taken in the last 100 days was that farmers were given more flexibility when it came to exports of products like rice, of products like onion. Is that frankly done with an eye on the assembly elections, where this is a big issue in your home state, particularly of Maharashtra? Or do you think this is a signal of the new policy direction you intend to follow even beyond the assembly election cycle?
Rahul, ever since 2014, and I have personally been a part of meetings where the Honorable Prime Minister repeatedly tells us that any decision my government will take, the Honorable Prime Minister's government will take, will always be based on what is good for the country, national interest, the people's good. And elections will never determine any of our decisions. I have once told you also that I had once upon a time a very important decision which my ministry could have taken in an earlier department I ran, which would have helped a particular state in their local election. I went to the Honorable Prime Minister seeking his guidance and permission to announce it. And I said it will help the state government very significantly. Everything is ready. And he said, I don't want you to take decisions just because there's an election in mind. And he didn't allow me to announce it. Everything was ready. He allowed me to announce it after the state elections are over. He doesn't believe that government works election to election. He believes that government works in the long term for the good of the nation. And similarly, we have balanced the interests of consumers and farmers in our various decisions related to the farm sector. Because inflation has been brought under control due to the strong measures both of the government and Reserve Bank of India, both monetary fiscal policy working in tandem, we are back to sub 4% inflation rates now for 2 months in a row. That is what has helped us in bringing back import duties on palm oil, so we can encourage farmers to grow more soybean and oil seeds and become self-sufficient in oil seeds, balancing the interests of low inflation for consumers and the farmers' interests. Similarly, we have a good onion crop expected this year. The Kharif season is just coming in from a few days from now, and Kharif crop cannot be stored. It cannot be kept for long periods of time. Keeping their interests in mind, we have both built up a buffer stock so that consumers can keep getting onion at affordable prices and give the farmers an opportunity to export their Kharif crop so that they get very high prices for their onions. Similarly, we've had a bumper crop in rice. Therefore, we have taken the strong decision to remove the minimum export price on basmati rice, and we are reviewing other elements of export controls to make sure that farmers and consumers both will benefit from government policy. It has nothing to do with elections. These are long-term policies.